G'day, Dave here, the Inline Plumber, with today's quote, which is, "The master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried." The master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. This is from Anonymous. So we don't know where this one's come from, but it is in fact an absolutely exquisite and awesome quote. So the master is anybody who has done something over and over and over, is viewed by others as awesome, a perfectionist, a maestro, as it were. For the trades, for skilled people, and actually I believe this applies to just about every career that's going, a master is usually considered someone who spent 10,000 hours of physical time doing something. And that's what's referred to as a master. If you spend enough time doing something, then generally you are deemed to be that good. Unfortunately, I don't always say that it's actually the amount of hours. That's probably the minimum amount of hours doing something properly that's required. But in that time, it's all about the failure that goes on and on and on. All the times that haven't been done right. So most masters, most professionals, somewhere along the line have done something wrong, or have not understood something, or have had to look at things in a different way, or a multitude of ways to really deeply understand what it is they're doing, learning, whatever. And most beginners, or a lot of beginners, typically don't want to put that amount of work in. That's where this phrase comes in and says the master has failed more times than the beginner has tried. Because for a beginner, they look at a master and go, "Oh, I'd love to be just like you." Well, are you going to put the work in? Because if you're not going to put the work in, you're probably not going to be like me. And in this day and age, that's quite common for people not to want to put the time in because, well, I want it now. I want to be a master artist now. I want to be one of these things. Well, okay. Sure, you can, but you do have to put the effort in. You have to fail. You have, like if we were looking at an artist, a sculptor, or whatever it might be, whatever means of art that is. Say a sculptor, let's go into that one. For someone who can make the most minute, finest details out of clay or concrete or whatever the medium is that they're using, they have to work at it over a period of time very delicately and know exactly what they're doing, have a vision of things in their mind of how it's going to be. Whereas a beginner is going to go in there and sort of stab in or cut off a huge chunk, and it's all going to be through mistakes, through the fact that, well, while they're learning, they're going to fail. They're going to have to make mistakes, because without making those mistakes, they don't learn the intricacies, the delicacies, the understanding of how things relate to one another, that if I take this chunk out at the bottom, the top's going to topple off. Well, but if I leave it like this, it's going to work and still look great and all that kind of stuff. Or in the case of, say, stones or crystals or something like that, there's a certain angle that needs to be chipped at or hit at to break it in a precise way rather than slicing. Even wood carvers use this too, that if it's going against the grain, is generally not a good thing, and going with the grain, you're more apt to get a nice smoother finish. But both techniques can work for different effects, so this is where it comes in. But it's trial and error, it's failing, it's doing the good one. That's why if we were to look at our kids' artwork from school, we can look at it and go, "Oh, that's lovely, dear," knowing full well that it's garbage, that no one else in the whole world is going to want to appreciate that and view it as really, truly a nice piece of art. But fast forward 10, 15, 20 years, that same child is now going to produce a masterpiece because they've kept up producing this horrible stuff. But producing the horrible stuff is what allows them to learn. So with that, the master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. From whoever this wonderful anonymous person is, and myself, Dave, the Enlightened Plumber, have yourself a great day. And if you want to do something, just go ahead and do it. Don't mind what it feels like, looks like to anybody else. Failing is fun, and it's the best way to learn. Take care. See you on the next one.